Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos, doggone it. My name is John Boy. It is John Boy time. I am your host, John Francis Fahey. Joining me, as ever, is, of course, Aaron Skeeta.
What?
AJP. You're going to like the way he looks. I Aaron P. it. It's Aaron Joseph Pita.
That's me, the undisputed champion of the Fist of Death.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe disputed.
It's, yeah. Actually, we had a new point system thought of by Phil that was really quite good. Mm-hmm. We'll discuss that later. More on the Fist of Death later. But to your right, my left, it is handsome Matt Brousseau, the Frenchman henchman.
Oh, hello.
Soon to be visiting the Emerald Isle.
Westeros?
Yeah. Westeros.
Yes.
You're going to Liverpool and the Emerald Isle.
Yeah, and Blackpool.
And Blackpool.
And an afternoon in Preston.
Preston. Cool.
Yeah, I'm going to insult the Queen. They're going to kick me out of the stadium for life. It's kind of a new thing they do there.
There was a thing about the Queen, like the headline on CNN, it was like, the Queen's coffin, blah, blah, and all I thought about was coffin flop.
Just
Queen.
full bodies hitting pavement.
Falling out of shit wood and hitting pavement.
Insulting the Queen and getting arrested just makes me think of American Werewolf in London, where he's trying to get arrested. He's like, "Oh, Prince Charles is the Queen's a cunt. Arrest me, arrest!" And they don't arrest him.
Yeah,
which bodes well for freedom of speech laws in
it does.
1980s London, England.
London, England. Very good, very good. Folks, Profiles T-shirts on sale at the Etsy store.
Buy them, won't you?
$15. And we have the Patreon, of course. $5 a month for an extra episode per week.
They've been fire lately.
They have been fire lately.
Very nice time.
Don't be one of those guys that subscribes and then unsubscribes before you have to pay.
Yeah, or one of those girls.
Is that a thing?
That's a thing. Yeah, there's a few people doing that. Like every month.
Really?
Yeah, there's a few people doing it.
Oh, so they're gaming the system?
They're freeloaders.
Jesus Christ! If
It's $1.
If you need it that badly, just ask me and I'll give you a free month.
Yeah.
Not all of you, but you know.
Some.
But if you're doing that, come on.
What if you send a hot pic?
But hey, I used to pirate in my days.
We were just pirating from other poor pirates.
Yeah, we were just stealing Metallica tracks, man.
Yeah. Fuck them.
Fuck those guys.
You're doing fucking Steed Bonnet kind of shit. Like you're stealing from poor fishermen.
Yeah, exactly. Check that out. Profiles in Eccentricity on the Instagram. PP Podcast on the Twitter. And we will have a Patreon preview as Matt is on vacation, where we show you the Fist of Death, the first iteration of it, which started on the Patreon, a little game where we get more into our character selves and make a little contest out of it. And I think we're going to keep it up and have a number of guests join us and help out. If you are a subscriber to the Patreon, you already know about it. You can throw into the Discord. If you're subscribing to Patreon, and
do some suggestions.
Do some suggestions there. These guys won't be able to see it, which thank you, Phil and Vera, for setting that up. And also, I have Profiles Fist of Death at Gmail if you want to send me suggestions for it. But if you guys don't subscribe, you won't know what that is until a couple of weeks. So,
John, what if we want you to do it?
Well, you can make me one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I'm not saying no, man. I'd love to do it.
Yeah, I think you'd be good at it.
Yeah, thank you. Matt, you got a big fat two-parter for us starting today.
Yeah, I got a little sports action for you. Huh?
I love sport.
What did Jessie say to me today? She goes, she was like, I was laughing at myself the other day. She goes, I was like, Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about porn, baseball, sometimes pilots.
That's funny.
I was like, yeah. It's a little reductive, but it's kind of what the show's been lately.
That's the main episode. So if
half of the people are Japanese.
For the Patreon, you'd say
everybody's
superheroes.
Japanese.
We're the Japaneseiest, baby.
Yeah.
But as well today I want to, and I guess next week too, but for you today,
For you guys, it's today.
I want to talk about America's team,
The
Dallas Cowboys. That's correct,
Is that
Aaron.
what they call themselves? The America's team?
Yeah, among because they're
Presumptuous?
well, that's America for you.
Yeah, it's Texas.
Yeah.
And they want to be their own country?
Yeah, they do still.
Yeah.
Cowboys, huh?
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys of the National Football League, the most confusingly named sport in America.
Yeah?
Well, it should be called like hand egg or something because the feet is the
Hand egg. Oh,
Hand
football.
egg.
the football is the least important part of it. You know,
Here we go.
arguably.
Matt's going to get fucking political about soccer.
Why don't you talk about what we should put on their jerseys, too?
Yeah.
Aer Lingus is playing Nestle.
So the Cowboys, they were founded in 1960,
Oh.
part of the expansion of the NFL. I guess it's maybe the beginning of the NFL. It doesn't really matter. It's not important to this story.
Yeah.
What's important to this story initially is that they had one head coach from the time they were formed until 1988.
Gee, many.
So, this guy named Tom Landry.
Huh.
He used to wear a hat, and everybody would go, wow, what a well-dressed man in a hat.
Look at that big old hat.
Yeah, and his silhouette with the hat was famous.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Because NFL Films did very good, very good shot of him with the sun and the shadow and the silhouette. There's a whole thing. Anyway, they won a Super Bowl. They had some famous games. After 28 years of coaching, it's not like baseball. Like Connie Mack coached the Philadelphia Athletics for like 40 years. Baseball didn't evolve that much, other than the players that he ended with were doing different drugs than the players he started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the equipment changed a little bit, but the format, like the style, wasn't that different. But football,
Color of the players changed,
yes, certainly.
which is crazy. The
Well,
jersey stayed the same color.
First it changed once, and then it changed back. It was really weird.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And but with football, there's constant formations changing. The offense, it's a form of chess-ish stuff, because the offense runs a set play that they think will beat this set defense, and then all of these players move and shift constantly, and they have to block each other.
It's much more dynamic.
Yeah, but eventually Tom Landry just he wasn't an innovator anymore. He was just an old man coaching a team that was okay.
Right.
And in the late 80s, or mid 80s, the Cowboys got a new owner. You would never believe this, but the guy who founded it was involved with oil. And then the next guy who bought it, he was involved with oil.
In Texas?
Yeah.
I'm an oil man.
His name was Bum Bright.
Bum Bright?
Yeah.
AKA Bum Bright.
Yeah.
Now, Bum Bright was not a big fan of Tom Landry. He had interviewed him for a coaching job.
What with his fancy hat and name?
Yeah.
What with his good name? And
I'm just a simple Bum Bright.
He said he had interviewed him for a college coaching job in like the 60s, and he said he was very unimpressed with him. And so eventually, after Bum Bright took over this team, his financial holdings started tanking in the 80s, and he needed to sell the team to make his money. And he bought the team for like, I don't know, $45 million in the mid 80s, and then he sold it for 150 or so. So that was a pretty good deal, all things considered.
Huh.
But he had one rule. When he found the man who was going to buy the team, he said, "You can do whatever you want, but fire Tom Landry."
really?
Yes. And he even offered to fire Landry before the other guy took over ownership, because he knew it'd be a very contentious decision. But the other guy said, "No, I'll do it."
I'll do it.
And that man was an oil man named Jerry Jones.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Jerry Jones. He was a former college football player, insurance salesman, and at that time, he was an oil driller who made $10 million during the 70s.
Neat.
Hey, cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And he was on the beach when he read the newspaper, and he said, the Dallas Cowboys need a team owner. And he said, I would love to own a team.
Yeah. Guy like me?
And so he called the guy who called the guy, and he said, "Hey, Mr. Bright, my name's Jerry Jones, and I want to own the Dallas Cowboys." They had a talk. $90 million for the team, $50 million for the stadium, $10 million for the mortgage on the team's headquarters.
Neat.
Then Tom Landry got he heard some news.
Uh-oh.
that he might be fired.
Yeah.
And part of the news is because there was a newspaper man who there was a rumor that Landry might be fired. And this newspaper man, he was just he was waiting all day to see who was going to show up for Jerry Jones, and he's like, guys, no one's showing up. And he goes to this restaurant in town, and there at the restaurant is Jimmy Johnson, a coach he knows, sitting with Jerry Jones. And so he called a newspaper, and they got this intern to show up with a camera and just take a picture of the two of them sitting and eating together.
Oh, how lovely.
And so, of course, Tom Landry goes, I think I'm going to get fired.
Yeah.
So Tom Landry flees the state and goes golfing, and Jerry Jones has to track him down
To fire him.
He didn't need to. He felt like it was the respectable thing to do.
Yeah, face to face.
Yeah, he said in retrospect it was a bad idea.
He just wanted the mileage points.
Like Landry and his son are like at a golf course. Mm-hmm. And
Tell him I'm not available.
Yeah. He's like on the putting green or some shit. He's like, I'm Tim Landry.
Yeah. Dude, I gotta get this dental work done before they give me the sack.
So apparently Jerry Jones tracked him down, told him the news, and Tom Landry just started crying.
Jesus.
Oh, come on.
Come
dude.
on.
How long did you coach for?
Yeah, you got plenty of money.
28 years.
Okay, you're done.
Yeah, you're fine.
Dude, 20 years is a long time.
And you got one. How many Super Bowl rings? One?
I think you one or two. I think you got a couple.
Dude, how many fingers you got?
Good point. Good point, Aaron.
Two, maybe?
Yeah, I get
Two.
it. Scientists still don't know, but, you know.
Scientists don't know.
It's at least two.
1, 2,
Buckle my shoe.
2. He got 2 in 28 years.
Okay. All right.
Perennial winner.
Well, listen, man. The Super Bowl didn't even exist until, what, 1964?
No. He, legendary coach, whatever.
Something like that.
Legendary coach, whatever. We're not here to talk about the past, dude.
So Landry,
A forward pass.
then Landry goes and he makes a speech to his team in the preseason. He says, and this is what. I should say most of this information is from Jeff Pearlman's fantastic book, "Boys Will Be Boys." And I also should say, shout out to Jeff Sewing for he heard the Mets episode and he said, "You got to do this."
Jeff Sewing, perennial nice
wonderful.
guy.
Way to go,
Jeff
Jeff.
Sewing.
Love you, buddy.
Jeff Pearlman, the same guy who wrote the Mets book.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Hey, well,
This guy likes debauched ball players.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. What's not to love?
These boys will be boys. The bad guys won, baby.
What's next? The boys are back in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a little Tom Landry story for you. He goes to his team. He tries to talk. 28 years. A long time in his life.
He tries to talk through his tears.
Yeah, and he can't get any words out. He just mumbles a lot, and then he starts crying, and then he collapses on the ground, and they have to like carry him out.
Oh, well, we'll just give his thumbs up to the crowd.
And then be all right. But it was, But here's what one of the offensive linemen, long-time Cowboys offensive lineman, says. Tom probably fired 10,000 football players without ceremony. Every dog gets his day.
Yeah.
Jesus. And his stupid fucking hat.
What if they said, that's actually a Cowboys hat?
Yeah,
Give me the hat.
Just turn in your badge, your parking pass.
I thought you were going to say it was just some dude like, I never saw such a bitch in all my life. so fucking like completely rude. So like some guy like the fridge being like, what the fuck is wrong with him?
Slap him around. Piss in his hat. It's my hat now.
Oh, fuck his wife.
This ain't no cowboy hat.
So Jimmy Johnson, he takes over the Cowboys. Never coached in the pros before, but there's a former college national champion at Arkansas, where he played with Jerry Jones on the same team.
Played with him?
Yeah. Well,
God.
and he had a degree in industrial psychology.
Industrial psychology.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell it means.
Industrial.
Oh, okay.
Psychology.
Yeah, still doesn't make much sense.
I'd like to hear more about that at some time.
No,
Right
it's
now-
you tell the
Well, you tell the fucking coal burner.
yeah,
like,
you say, hey,
We
you're
gotta make more shit, Daddy. I'm gonna get in your head about it.
and,
he's the fucking like boiler whisperer.
yeah. You're a big, strong boy.
You made of iron and
Some
bronze.
guy on the assembly line. Have you been working out?
I used to play with Jerry Jones. Look at him now. He made $10 million in the 70s.
See you in the break room.
So Jimmy Johnson's he worked his way up through the college football ranks. You know, you start as like a small, like a linebacker coach or something, right? And then you work your way up to maybe a defensive coordinator, and then you become the head coach. So he had all these various coaching roles until he was able to become a head coach, and then eventually he gets a head coaching job at one place, and then he leaves that for Miami University in the mid '80s.
Yeah,
Big time.
Notorious team in the '80s.
The Rock.
The Rock played for him. Yeah,
The Rock did really.
Yeah.
and in 1987 they won the national championship. But they were a controversial team because they were
The pro team.
they were quote boisterous and unquote not white.
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah.
because one of their big rivals was Oklahoma,
And
and they had like Brian Bosworth, who was just like
The Boz.
yeah. But Miami was they were in your face.
yeah.
The
were
Reagan.
Oh,
Yeah, they
Miami in the '80s was in your face.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It was exactly what you think it was.
Yeah.
And
During
they
the
were-
Reagan years.
I think there's a 30 for 30 on them that's
Yes.
really good where
Yeah.
it shows them like walking in front, getting into places that
Right.
pro athletes weren't getting into because
Yeah.
the University of Miami football team was that
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
big of a deal.
Yeah. The place might get shot up later, but
Yeah. It was like USC football was in 2006.
Miami B. 305.
Does my gold chain smell like Coke? Try it.
Sounds great.
I'm off of it.
No, so Jimmy Johnson immediately comes over. He starts remaking the team. He gets rid of a lot of Landry's people. He starts running these brutal practice sessions. There's this one story where there's a kicker who's like they were just doing nonstop wind sprints, and this one kicker is just dying. And then Jimmy Johnson's just ripping into him. And the guy goes, Coach, I'm sorry, I got asthma. And Jimmy Johnson goes, the asthma field's over there. And he points to the sidelines.
The asthma field.
The asthma field.
Welcome to Asthma Field.
And he started talking like a lot of players from the University of Miami. So like a lot of the older players are like, oh man, what the fuck is this shit? But he also had a kind of a lax attitude. His whole thing was like, no matter what we do, we win. Everything we do is in the name of winning. He even divorced his wife, so
He was a loser.
because he's gonna spend all of his time working on that team. He didn't have time for
I
this.
can't be fucking you,
Yeah,
dude.
and then he didn't really see his kids very much either.
And he won the divorce.
God.
He won the divorce.
Jesus.
He had a great head of hair.
They'd been married 20 years.
Good God.
Almost as long as Landry coached. Did he choke up and pass out during the breakup?
They buy him a hat.
But as one of the players described it, he said, all he cared about was winning. When I was with the Redskins, Joe Gibbs would say, okay, fellas, don't mess with street drugs or steroids because that's not how we do things here. Jimmy, on the other hand, would say, don't mess with street drugs or steroids because the drug test is in a week and you don't want to get caught.
Yeah.
It was obvious Jimmy lacked some character in his pursuit of greatness.
He what?
It's the players said
The last part?
The player said he lacked some character in his pursuit of greatness, but also, I mean, it's a former player who didn't play that much under Jimmy, so you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. He's got his fucking like one kick.
yeah, and also fuck like Joe Gibbs, lame. Come on,
Yeah, mind your business.
yeah, come on. He didn't
It's
have.
on the field, mind your
He
business.
wore a baseball cap, not like a cool fedora. You know.
Yeah, cool.
What did Lombardi wear? One of those stupid hats too?
He
wore like
often
ear
had that.
flaps
Yeah,
probably.
but he also had
Old.
glasses.
He had one of those two
and he
beer
swore
hats.
a lot.
Yeah.
one of
But they had
those.
koozies on them.
Yeah.
Soft ears.
Yeah.
You want to get a cauliflower ear from his Schlitz.
Now, one thing Johnson did though is he drafted well. He was very attuned to. He took in a lot of information, knew the kind of guys that he wanted, and Michael Irvin was a guy who was selected the year before, in Tom Landry's last season. But in Johnson's first draft, he selects a quarterback, this guy named Troy Aikman, 6'6", tall,
I remember him
big
well.
fat head.
Good baseball player too.
Was he?
I think he was a pitcher.
But despite the Cowboys in 1989, a very bad team, they set a franchise record for fewest running yards in a game, 20.
Jesus Christ.
On their home opener, Jerry Jones and Elizabeth Taylor did the coin toss.
Together?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, Jerry Jones loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He still loves the
Yeah.
limelight. Didn't he build a new stadium a few years back?
Oh, yeah, they did.
The most expensive
It's the
stadium?
largest screen in the fucking world or some
Great.
shit.
Everybody's got a screen in their hand, Jerry.
Everything's bigger in Texas, though.
That was their home opener. They lost that game 30-7. They started the year 0-2, and they looked really bad in the parking lot after the home opener. Someone put flyers on people's cars that read, "Would the mother who left her 11 kids at Texas Stadium please come and get them?"
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Yeah, because the fans were already going, "Oh, you're not the respectful losers of the Tom Landry era." I'm being harsh. I don't know if they lose, but it's more fun that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, take a hard line.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I like
Thank
it.
you,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
Get worse.
Yeah,
Get worse.
Take a stand, dude.
They were racist.
Yeah. Fuck 'em.
Elvis was a fan of theirs.
Yeah. It's probably Tom Landry that handed those flyers out. Crying through his veil of tears. Is that Kinko sobbing?
Wear a Michael Myers mask.
Why not?
But they did have one stud on their team. This the running back named Herschel Walker.
Hey, I've heard of him lately.
Yeah, he's in the news for genius.
Yeah.
Really was a
smart
stud,
guy.
though.
Yeah. Well, so there's all these stories about Herschel Walker, like in the book here, like he had perfect grades in school.
Yeah. Now you look at every story, every legend about Herschel Walker with a new lens.
Or like
Yeah.
no, but like any story about an athlete with perfect grades in school, you're like, he was a football player.
Yeah.
He was the best athlete at the school.
Yeah. Getting banged
Like,
in the
what-
head in
what-
Texas.
What are they gonna do? Flunk him?
Yeah.
Right, but there are some players that when you hear stuff like that, like
You go, what happened to their brain?
Or no, if it's like Tiki or Ronde Barber,
Right.
you're like, oh, those guys like have a good head on their shoulders. You know, there's certain players that you believe stuff like that. Herschel Walker, you can't believe a goddamn thing that comes out of his stupid fucking head.
Right. Well, I mean, today he's completely bonkers. He back then he was he didn't drink or smoke, and they said he was like he would sleep like 4 hours a night.
Yeah.
And when anybody would see him, he was like doing sit-ups and push-ups.
All that's a lie.
It's just like nonstop working out.
All of that's a lie.
All that's a lie.
I mean, he was God.
Why are you saying that?
He was.
Everything that he said is a lie. Everything he said.
No, but that's what other people are saying.
Other
about
people
him.
said.
those are
A lot of people are saying it.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
But anyway, so he was like the one player on the Cowboys that everybody was like, oh, that guy's really good.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Johnson says, fuck that. I want to get rid of him.
Why?
He didn't think he was as good as everybody said he was.
Smart man.
And so he calls up this guy in Minnesota and he says, I'll give you Herschel Walker. And the guy goes, oh, okay, well, so they make this whole deal where the Cowboys get 5 veterans and some draft picks. Mm-hmm. And so in the paper, it sounds like it's the worst trade in the world. Here is the future MVP of the NFL being traded for some nobodies.
Yeah.
And some draft picks, except there's a thing that was not reported in most of these articles. Each of the veterans that the Cowboys got was assigned a draft number. So, for instance, this one guy named Solomon, he was assigned a draft value of number 1 pick, the first round pick in 1990. Another guy, first round pick in 1991. Another guy, second round pick in 1992.
This is what they were.
This is what they were worth. And so the thing is, the guy
He's
making the
playing
trade to the
Moneyball?
Cowboys, he goes, the deal was if the Cowboys cut these guys from the team, they get that draft pick.
Got it.
And the Minnesota GM is going, well, they need these guys. They're not going to cut them. And Jimmy Johnson goes,
Nah.
fuck that.
yeah.
I don't give a shit what we do this
Dude,
season.
I cut my wife.
Exactly.
And she was a walk-on.
I cut my kids.
They were drafted.
I cut my dog with a knife. I'm sick.
So there's
Jimmy Johnson.
There's this story at like the NFL like GM meetings later in the year where the Minnesota GM is like, hey, Jerry Jones, how you doing? And Jerry just hands him an envelope, and in it are just just says we're cutting all of these players, and the the Minnesota guy goes, holy shit, what have I done?
You just gave them 5 first-round draft picks.
Yeah, or like 3 first-round draft picks and 3 second-round draft picks.
Yeah.
And an edible arrangement.
So at the time, it was called like a terrible deal, and then in retrospect, it is maybe the greatest deal in the history of the NFL. The most lopsided trade.
This guy should have wrote The Art of the Deal.
Yeah.
And so one thing Jimmy Johnson would do is he would take these, you have a high draft pick in the first round, and what you do is maybe you trade that for 2 or 3 more picks. Because sometimes, the guy you get in the first round is not always the best guy because maybe they get injured or maybe they aren't as good as they are in college.
Ready for prime time.
And each year, each team gets 7 draft picks, and then they can accumulate more based on trading. And over the first 3 years, Jimmy Johnson would turn that one deal he made into 19 draft picks.
Damn.
One would be he'd sign this guy, the safety, who's a defensive player named Darren Woodson. He would retire eventually as the Cowboys' all-time leader in tackles. And another guy they drafted from that pick in 1990, his name was Emmitt Smith.
Emmett Brown.
Doctor. See, some of them do get perfect grades, idiot.
Yeah. You're thinking of Emmett Brown.
Not a mistake.
Emmitt Smith, man. Yeah, dude. I mean, fuck. I was watching all those Super Bowls.
Dude, they really were America's team. Like, kids in my elementary school had that fucking
In Long Island.
starter jacket.
Yeah, they were watching, like, that starter jacket was huge. And, like, fucking, we had Buffalo is up the street.
Yeah, dude.
Like, it was insane.
Well, Buffalo sucked. We'll come to that.
Yeah.
They were good, but they sucked.
Even the Raiders fans here were like, all right, these jackets are pretty cool.
Yeah, dude. It was fucking wild, man.
So,
Aikman.
in 1989, Dallas Cowboys, they would finish the season with 1 win. And so it was not a great start if you're Jimmy Johnson. But in 1990...
Go back to making sandwiches.
Jimmy John's, I get it.
They won their first game. Then they lost 3 in a row. But then they started figuring some stuff out. This team started gelling a little bit. The younger players started,
Yeah, they're like, we got to go forward with the ball. That was like Emmett Brown was like, we gotta go back, Marty. No, Emmett. No.
Back to the future.
You dumb bastard.
Here's the thing about
Who's that?
John Madden.
Oh, okay.
You gotta score more points than the other. Can't do it. Here's the thing. I'm working on it.
No. Yeah, it's work in progress. We'll keep that though.
Oh, hey, make a note.
So then the Cowboys they beat the then Phoenix Cardinals 41-10.
Great team.
Eventually they were 7-7 after winning 1 game the season before. They eventually were 7-7.
Good drink.
And they almost made the playoffs. They lost their last 2 games.
Fuck.
But everybody saw there was like something was happening.
Something moving, dude.
Yeah, these
got something
Cowboys
going
got a little
on.
giddy up.
Yeah. Aikman had gone through a series where, like, that season, I believe Jimmy Johnson had signed his old quarterback from Miami. And there was like, who's going to be the number 1 starter?
Competition breeding excellence.
And then, eventually Aikman proves himself.
Yeah.
But another thing happened is in the offseason after that 1990s season, they got rid of their old offensive coordinator, who was a legacy hire from the Shula Miami Dolphins.
Don Shula?
Yeah, it was a Don Shula kid.
Yeah.
And they hired this guy named Norv Turner, who would be infamous for being a terrible head coach in the NFL, but a good coach in college.
Okay.
But he was kind of an offensive wizard.
Was he the guy that did like the 5 wide? He was like the big, I think Norv was a big 5 wide guy.
I can't remember specifically, but a lot of it was like quick passes.
Yeah. Air it out.
Yeah. So they needed some new ideas on offense, and especially because eventually, guys like Emmitt Smith didn't take long for him to show that he was quite good.
Yeah.
You could say that.
And also in that preseason or that postseason or preseason before '91, defensive lineman Nate Newton was arrested for being at a dogfight.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
In retrospect, not that big of a deal.
No.
In context.
No, I mean, a couple years later, in the Dallas Cowboys wives cookbook, it was noted that Nate Newton had a pit bull terrier business and owned 18 of them. So I don't know what that means.
No, he didn't cook them, did he?
No.
All right, well,
That's not good.
Not ideal.
No, it's far from ideal.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not ideal, but I mean, just read the headlines of what happens with these football players now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all bad.
Yes, it's all bad.
Right, yes.
But it's not that bad.
You know. So,
It's not that bad.
No, bad take. Terrible take.
but the team...
You love dogs, you idiot.
Yeah, I like people better.
I don't know what that even means.
Oh, dude, they're just raping.
They don't have the dogs fighting people.
No, they're raping everybody now.
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dogs?
Nice.
Nice. Well, you got to say that. Use your words.
I'm sorry. I thought you knew.
No, I don't know what football players do.
It's in the news.
Now,
They rape people.
so this young Cowboys team was, but there was some promise there. And Jimmy Johnson had more, he had more draft picks in his first 3 years. Altogether, he had 38 draft picks, which is a very good way of just adding people to the team. Some of them flame out. Some of them don't make it. It was a very young team. I think even that season it might have been. I know at least a couple seasons later it had the lowest average age, and that's 2 seasons later. So it might have even been the youngest team in the league then.
Damn.
And Jimmy Johnson was a real hard ass. I mean, the stories of him cutting people were kind of legendary. It was never the big guys. Those guys could kind of do whatever they want.
Physically big?
No, like the guy.
Big names.
Yeah.
I got it.
The deliverers.
Yeah, it was anytime he could take it out on somebody who wasn't one of them.
Ooh.
It was kind of like no one here is safe except those guys.
It's kind of like when in Breaking Bad when Gus killed the Mexican guy instead of Walt just to prove a point. He was mad at Walt, and so he killed the Mexican guy.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of like Breaking Bad.
Kind of, yeah.
Like that.
Kind of like that, yeah.
It's kind of like that.
But with
Is it kind of like that?
That was awesome.
but with a young team, maybe who's to say that's not what they needed, that kind of hard ass. Who's to say?
Who is to say?
Now, so in 1991, they win their first game. They actually beat the defending champion New York Giants in Week 5. But then Troy Aikman would be injured for the whole season. But then their backup quarterback, he came in. I believe it was Steve Berline. I can't remember.
Steve
Berline?
Nah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
The New York Football Giants won the Super Bowl the year before. Mm-hmm. Who was on that team? Do you know?
I believe it was Phil Simms and maybe Lawrence Taylor. Probably Lawrence Taylor.
Oh yeah, notorious crack smoking leg breaker.
Yeah, but like only one of those he did on purpose.
Huh.
I'll let you figure out which one.
I think I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
They still made the playoffs though with the backup playing, and they won their first game in the playoffs. Then they lost to the Detroit Lions in the second round of the playoffs. But everybody said, okay, look at this: 1-15, 7-9, make the playoffs, win our game. Emmitt Smith led the league in rushing yards that year. Michael Irvin led the league in receiving yards.
Great player.
And everything is kind of normal, they're on the up and up. But then...
Both on Dancing with the Stars, I think, eventually.
Yeah. I think Emmitt won it.
Yeah. And you would think that Michael Irvin would, but I think he was no slouch. I think he was pretty great.
No, he had a spinal injury.
Spinal?
Spinal.
Vertebrae?
Spinal.
So everything is, they're on the up and up, but they're missing one piece. And this piece would take them to another level. And some of that
Is it a cool song?
Well, I want to tell you about a guy named Charles Haley and his colorful mouth and his insanely large penis.
Oh boy.
Oh God.
Here are 3 anecdotes that sum up his final season with the San Francisco 49ers. He had won 2 Super Bowls with them.
What position?
He is, I believe, a defensive lineman.
Ooh.
Or like a defensive end or something. Big, large man.
Big, fast, strong guy.
Yeah. 6'6", 6'5", 255.
God.
Hey.
Large man.
Coming for you.
So he was one of the best players, if not the best defensive player in San Francisco, other than maybe Ronnie Lott, a legendary guy. And here are 3 stories that sum up his final season.
Story number 1.
During team meetings, he used to jerk off while graphically talking about the other players' wives.
Oh, God.
Sometimes to the point of ejaculation.
In the meeting?
Yes. He didn't know what kind of meeting it was.
What?
What?
Excuse me.
He thought it was a meeting, MEATING. It was a team meeting. We're meeting, guys.
Oh, God. That's disgusting. That's so gross.
He had a very large penis.
Really?
Very large. He once put it on a man's shoulder. Like
this big?
no. Aaron, bigger.
Like bigger than this?
No, not possible.
Bigger than this penile bottle opener I got for you in Indonesia?
Yeah. I mean, if you got me, it would have cost 3 times as much for a Charles Haley version.
3 times as much?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's probably like a mag light.
MAGA-lite.
What?
I don't know. I bet you this guy's a MAGA guy, probably.
When they lost to the Raiders in the playoffs that year, oh no, it was 5th week of that season in 1991. Steve Young had a really bad game, and Charles Haley, who was in the locker room, hooked up to an IV at the time, saw Steve Young come in, started crying, pulled a needle out of his arm, punched a hole in the wall, took a swing at his coach, and started screaming at Steve Young, "I could have fucking won that game in my sleep. You're a motherfucking pussy gay guy quarterback. A motherfucking
Gay guy.
pussy gay guy with no balls." And then he started running at Steve Young and charged at him until he was held back. And then someone from the 49ers team ran into the Raiders locker room, got 49ers player Ronnie Lott, brought him over.
There's only one man that can stop this guy.
And once Charles Haley saw Ronnie Lott, he stopped what he was doing and started crying
He came his pants.
and hugged him.
Oh, my God.
So,
what a night. So
mentally unstable hung guy.
on steroids.
Yeah, at least.
Well, they can afford to get smaller.
Well, no, your balls can shrink on steroids. Your penis doesn't shrink.
Which makes the song look bigger.
Yes.
Yeah,
Super
smart.
funny.
Now he was on IV for fluids.
For fluids, yeah.
Because he came so much during the game, probably.
Here's another story from that year.
Oh, boy.
He never got along with this guy, Tim Harris, who was a Pro Bowl pass rusher. His first year with the 49ers. And they were kind of similar, except one of them wasn't crazy.
Big dicks?
It doesn't say. But Haley did not like Tim Harris. And near the end of this season, he went up to Harris's $50,000 BMW 733i convertible, cut a hole in the roof of it. Then he stood on top of the car and peed onto the steering wheel.
Oh, good.
And Carter... I forget who this guy is, who's Carter, but this guy says, "There are some things you just don't do," and that tops the list.
That tops the list? Yeah, probably murder and rape would be topping the list of things you don't do. But in Pulp Fiction, they say you do not fuck with another man's automobile.
That's right.
Just don't do it.
That's right. It's not even the same fucking ballpark.
No. And they played at Candlestick Park. And
this man had a
Quite the candlestick.
Quite the candlestick with a big old wick.
but the last straw was when he was sitting backwards in his chair at a team meeting.
Like
he was
A.J.
told
Slater?
to turn around. He said, "Fuck you. I got to go take a shit anyway."
I don't even know what that Fuck you. I gotta go take a shit anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how I heard it. And then he came back and threw shit at his coach.
Oh, my God.
So he got cut.
After the 1991 season, the Dallas Cowboys signed Charles Haley.
Damn. This is trouble.
Yeah.
This ain't going nowhere good.
Not that this matters, but was he a white guy? It sounds like a white guy. It sounds like a white guy
He
thing
was
to
not.
do. I don't know. Throwing shit seems like a white boy sport.
Okay, he was not.
Well, I was wrong, okay? But color me wrong.
Matt, this guy asking about race.
I don't know. Just
What century
picture
is he?
crazy white guys.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think in my head he was white the whole time, too.
Yeah, dude, like throwing shit around is I don't know.
Well,
I knew crazy football players in my high school.
Yeah.
Well, so in 2013, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
Took that long.
Yeah. Good timing.
Yeah.
Not a minute too soon.
In 1991, though, he was diagnosed manic depressive, but he often forgot to take his pills.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we come back, I'll tell you what he did the first 3 days at Dallas Cowboys preseason camp.
God, not sleep.
Don't sleep. We'll be right back, folks. And we're back. Now, Matt, tell us about this guy's dick, man. Circumcised? Overly? Botched?
I don't know. No one's ever. I tried.
No one ever said anything?
I tried to find pictures of it, and I could not.
Well, if you're out there listening and you're curious about the size, shape, and status of Charles Haley's foreskin,
Yeah. If it was squeezy, nerfy.
Yeah, was it kind of spongy or was it like rock hard?
Ron Jeremy had a
Spongy.
diamond hard skull cracker.
I thought he had a spongy.
He had a spongy.
He had a spongy.
But, I
big
mean,
old,
it sounds like I'm guessing he's a shower.
I feel like he's a thick, hard, veiny, dense. You know, the dense.
He's got a big nerfy hand egg.
Yeah, but maybe when it's cooking,
Yeah.
it hards
grill
up.
marks on it and shit.
Well, we'll never know.
But
The boy can talk about it.
but he pulled it out often, and some of the ones are less funny, like when he tried to intimidate a female reporter in the locker room with it.
Yeah, not.
Tried to didn't successfully intimidate.
Well, I mean, I'm sure she was
I'm
probably
intimidated
freaked
thinking
out.
about it.
He also he would.
She could have said everything's bigger in Texas and really freaked him out.
Well, it was when he was with the 49ers.
That's why he went to Texas.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
he
it'll
would
get bigger.
Now, when you said gay guy all those times, were you really saying he was really saying the bundle of sticks?
Yeah. One of the quotes that opens up the chapter about his move is he says it doesn't say who he's saying it to, but he says, "Oh, you're from California? You must be a fucking gay guy." Yeah. Even though he played in
San Francisco.
I guess he'd be the expert then. He would when he was with the 49ers and probably when he was with the Cowboys. Sometimes someone would just be sitting down and he'd just walk over and just start jacking off in front of the guy's face.
Yeah, it's funny you would throw around gay slurs when your dick's always out. You know?
Yeah, isn't that kind of the thing? It seems like that happens a lot.
It's the only time I ever say it.
Isn't that always the way?
Of the force.
Man.
Okay, so he arrives at the Dallas Cowboys for preseason.
And we got the first 3 days.
Day one, he enters the defense team's film session wearing only a towel. He then lays down on the floor and starts jacking off.
Good idea.
Set the tone.
Yeah.
But apparently the coach comes in and he says, "Haley, get the hell out of here. Get some pants on." And everybody has a big laugh.
Is this a defensive coach or
Defensive coach, not Jimmy Johnson.
Not Jimmy
Yeah.
Johnson.
Day two,
You know what I would have done is I would have teed up a football next to it and had some guy kick it.
But you pull it away.
like a stand.
Patty.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd be like, "Yeah, some fields over there, shithead."
I know my name's Jimmy Johnson, but we have a strict no cock policy in the team room.
Also, a Jimmy on your Johnson? No thanks.
And day two, he wraps an ace bandage around his penis and he runs through the locker room shouting, "I'm the last naked warrior." I think Last of the Mohicans had just come out.
Oh, good.
But now is his, with the ace bandage around the dick. Now I've seen that on a lot of those ads on the porn sites that say one simple trick.
What?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Maybe the bandage because he had a botched circum.
Yeah. Maybe the swelling is what made it so big.
Yeah. Wait, is that really a thing you see in the ads? What do they do?
Oh, they got an ace bandage or like a toilet paper roll or they're fucking a cantaloupe.
Right. These are the tricks.
Yeah.
And they're easy. They're homemade.
Yeah, dip it into apple cider vinegar or something.
Yeah.
Make your dick.
Pine Sol. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he likes to. He starts jerking off in front of other men, calling them,
Gay guys.
gay
Yeah.
guys. Gay guys.
Don't look, gay guy.
What are you getting?
Yeah. One of the very, very good Dallas safeties, a guy named Kenny Gant. He said that Charles would kiss you on the mouth and say, "Man, I love you," and then you go, hey, Charles, didn't you just tell me to go fuck myself 2 hours ago?
Yeah.
And it's kind of everybody was, but there's like good stories about him, and everybody was like, well, there's a certain way to deal with him. And in day 3, it's illustrated in this way. He walks past a hot tub, which with the offensive linemen, these big, giant white men at the time, these 3 white men were sitting in. And
they're black guys now. They transitioned.
And Haley goes, it's another example of white men keeping the black man down. Look at the 3 of you relaxing. And one of the guys goes, you're not going to have to fight. I mean, what do you have to write? Talk to us this way. You've only been here a week. It's like, you want to fight? Want to fight? You want to go? And Haley's like, oh, okay, fuck off. And he walks off.
I guess I'll go jerk off or take a shit or something.
They're both.
And so he's one of those guys where it's like, you have to get to his level, and you
have to speak his language.
rein it in.
You got to jerk off in front of him.
Yeah, and you got to come first.
That's right.
You got to shoot first. Like Han.
He's like, hey, you kissed me on the mouth. He said, I love you, dude. And you're like, did you tell me to go fuck myself? I wanted you to start jacking on.
It's the whitest kids you know sketch where they start the
yourself.
slow jack off in the office, where they all start slowly jacking off.
I don't know that.
Okay, it's a good one.
Slow jack.
He would do things. He would call Jerry Jones the owner. He would call him Massa Jerry.
Oh, God. Yeah. He's making a big splash.
Boy.
Yeah. So, but he joins the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And, he led the 49ers in sacks for 1986.
And shafts.
He won 2 Super Bowls with the 49ers, and he led the team in sacks.
Nice.
So he's, arguably maybe their best defensive player. They just got tired of him. He joins the Cowboys. Kind of, he doesn't fit right, but fits in a way. They already got some, weirdos.
Sure.
And 3 seasons ago, the team was 1-15, and now all of a sudden they see the possibilities. They're clicking. They're getting some hype. Michael Irvin is bringing the team together by he would leave practice, go straight to the strip club.
Oh.
And if you were a new player on the team, he would pay for you for the entire night. He would buy you drinks. He knew all the women. He'd walk over to the women. He'd bring them over and say, hey, this guy. And then he would leave. And then that guy would eventually have sex with that woman or something.
Right, yeah.
One reporter said that he got more Cowboys laid than he had touchdown catches.
Wow.
And
What's more important?
It's camaraderie. He would bring these guys out all night, these young kids, and then when they would show up in the morning with like bloodshot eyes, he would gleefully yell. He'd say, "Come on, pussy, you can't handle a little water."
Yeah. Is he almost in the Keith Hernandez role here, kind of?
Irvin, no, he's not a vet. He's not a veteran. He's a veteran, but he's not a veteran. He still has to prove himself.
Right.
Like he had one very, very good season leading the NFL in receiving yards, but he had some injury problems before then. Jimmy Johnson almost got rid of him because of the injuries.
Yeah. And there was a guy called Jerry Rice in the league.
Yes. So Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin would be like 1 and 2 on and off as receivers. I think Shannon Sharp a receiver or tight end.
No, Shannon Sharp was it was a tight end.
So slightly different role.
Yeah.
But here's a little. So Michael Irvin, he liked to get naked and stand in front of the mirror.
I would too.
And he would say things like, "How can I allow only one woman to have a body this good? This is the body that." He would point. That's why he would.
He was kind of like the Apollo Creed.
Yeah. But he would walk around naked in front of the rookies, and he would say, "This is the body you will aspire to have. This is the body you will aspire to achieve. You will not achieve it, but this is what you will strive to achieve. You will do
That's
your
the platonic
best."
ideal.
Yes.
Yeah. That's right.
This is the body that all other bodies aspire to be.
Yeah.
There are many bodies, but this is mine.
There was before games, he'd have people from like Versace enter and measure him for a suit. He would choose like a feather from an exotic animal to put in his hat.
Like a velociraptor.
Yeah.
Every NFL city, he had women set up for him. And one of the players said, the guy goes, "I'm not talking about 8s or 9s. These girls were 12s.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, one of these guys.
Hopefully 18.
Oh, God.
And but at the same time, he would be out until 4 a.m. And then, in the morning, he would be one of the first guys in the weight room.
I wonder how they did that.
Huh.
Melissa took some Advil and some Gatorade before.
Probably
went to bed.
some Lavazza coffee.
Yeah, a good, just a good strong black coffee and
Yeah.
Wait, it was
a couple glasses of water before hitting the old cot.
You said it, neighbor.
That's simple living. You know, no.
And then the night terrors.
Yeah.
night terrors. But it's not like he was the only guy at the strip club.
You don't say.
Being the Dallas Cowboys, and especially after making the playoffs and having some promise, one of the offensive tackle, Eric Williams, says, he said, we were like rock stars. If it was day game, we would get done around 6 or 7. We'd go to the bar. I would call the females I dated. Most of them were strip club women because that's what I did all the time. It was like a fish market. I'd view the women and pick one.
Dude, when guys start calling women
It's bad.
females,
Bad.
when it comes to females, shut up.
Yeah. Females is bad. That's a female.
One of the safeties, he said, if you have a weak
I don't believe in that.
He said, if you have a weak constitution, Dallas isn't for you. I mean, we were holding position meetings at strip clubs. Position meetings, he said.
And I got just a position for you.
Yeah. It's missionary.
But the team was, this brought the team together.
Right. The strip club.
And-
Big Dallas strip club.
And
I hear they're great.
Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Dallas
Dallas,
Cowboy.
Atlanta.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
Dallas?
Yeah.
It's the first good thing I've heard about Dallas my whole life.
Well, there's one. In the 80s?
Sure.
I feel like in the 80s they were all good.
Anywhere in the 80s. Come on.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's...
Anywhere in the 80s.
Yeah.
It was fucking...
Except Beirut.
It was mayhem. Yeah, yeah. You don't want to do
Those
Beirut.
Beirutis.
The strip clubs in Beirut, they sucked in the 80s.
Yeah, but now they suck.
Yeah.
But even at this time, the egos hadn't gotten too big. Before the first game of the season, Emmitt Smith snuck into the locker room, and in the locker of each offensive lineman, he put a $7,500 Rolex, and on the back it said, "Thanks for the 1,500 yards and NFL rushing title." And then he wrote his name in case they weren't sure who it's from. But
Nice, dude.
E. Smith.
Who's S. Smith? Who the hell is this S. Smith that broke into my locker?
Yeah. That's wild.
one of the linemen who got it, he said, "We were fucking pumped."
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's just a small gesture
I mean,
for those guys.
I guess. Yeah, that's a lot of
Like
Rolex.
they don't need the money, but it says like,
Yeah.
dude,
He took
I
the time.
can't thank-
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's crazy too. Even then, like how out of control these guys could get with like like football money is just something else.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to talk about it at the beginning of the next episode, but it is absolutely insane how many of these guys came from abject poverty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like-
I mean, it's no wonder you got your dick out all the time and you're going ape shit. You know?
Yeah, and you're getting hit in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these guys are paying like $200 for a ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I mean, it's it's kind of a good that this happened now because I was just out with like football starting, and when I'm just like out like I'm like just having a meal at a bar or whatever, but people are like just like so psyched about football starting. Like fucking even at home, like Ron is like, yeah, he's like, in a couple of weeks I'll be less psyched, but when it starts, you're like fucking just let's go. You know what I mean? And people take the football in just another way. It is like
Never got into it.
definitely the American sport. Yeah, I'm a far bigger baseball guy, which everybody says sucks and is boring.
They're going to institute a pitch clock.
A pitch clock?
Yeah, they've been trying it out. I mean, they have one in the majors, but I think they're trying a faster one in the minors right now.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, they're just different sports. I like the casualness of watching a baseball game. I would never watch a football game in person. It is way more fun to watch on TV.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
got all the angles.
you can see what's going on.
Yeah, no, but the downtime watching it in person is just constant.
Yeah, I mean, just decent amount of downtime in baseball too, I guess. No?
It's all downtime.
It's all
And that's
downtime.
what you're prepared
Yeah.
for. So
Yeah.
you're fine with
Yeah,
it. It's a much more
exactly.
leisurely stroll through
Yeah.
the game.
But it has
That's why basketball is the sport to watch.
it has
or hockey.
has a
Okay.
it has a shorter season going for it. Football.
It
And
does.
the stakes are higher for every
yes.
game.
Yeah. So you can really know a lot more stats than say something like the fucking 90-game season of baseball.
Well, I mean,
162.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I mean, in baseball, with that many games, the stats become so refined that.
That's true. Yeah.
With football, there's a little bit more guessing. But even then, there was a statistical revolution in football over the years, and that's why more coaches are going for it on fourth down, and stuff like that.
Okay.
But anyway, so they opened their season. They beat perennial favorites Washington and the New York Giants, two teams that were always, they're always Super Bowl contenders
At the time.
and they would finish this season with a 13-3 record.
That's a great record.
So you could just the progress. It's like the progress.
Biggity bam, biggity bam.
These Cowboys had manifest destiny.
That's how men. Troy Aikman would have the third best quarterback ranking. He would have the second most touchdowns thrown. Emmitt Smith would again lead the league in rushing yards, and this time touchdowns. Michael Irvin was second in receiving yards, but it was the defense that was an absolute monster. It gave up the fewest yards per game. It set a club record by only giving up 62 yards in one game.
Wow.
Jeez.
62 total yards
Yeah.
against the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Bad, but
They pushed them into the stands.
They pushed him right back into the season.
so the defense would shine incredibly bright in the most important game of their lives in a few weeks. But first, I want to talk about Jimmy Johnson, the head coach who. I guess I've already talked about it a little. So this is the year where they had the youngest average team in the league, 25.3 years old.
Dude, what?
Yeah. Hot guys.
I feel now
guys.
that I'm ready to play football. Like barely,
You are. You get
barely,
into it.
barely.
You
I
look
barely
great.
feel like I could handle somebody hitting me.
Yeah.
No, you could have taken way more beating in 25.
I just wouldn't be mentally prepared for it.
Yeah,
Now
the
I'm not-
same. I agree, yeah.
Physically not prepared.
You're like, oh, wow.
I'd shatter.
Look at this penis.
Holy
I'd
shit.
shatter. I'd shatter now. But mentally, I feel like I can handle it. Back then, oh God, no. 25 is just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
these guys are pulling their dicks out. I mean, what do you expect me to do? Not jump on it?
These guys, they mean business.
Yeah. But Jimmy Johnson wouldn't let him rest. Like, I think multiple seasons near the end of the season, the full rainstorm, he would make them put all their pads on in practice. And the guys were all like, fuck this. Like, fuck this guy. But when they win, you forget about that a little bit. You forget about how much you hate the coach when you're winning. And he's cutting these guys left and right.
Bye.
There's this one guy who, I think this might even have been a later season, but it illustrates like he had a very good preseason, and then he collapses on the ground. He's a backup quarterback, and he collapses, and it turns out he has this leg issue where blood's not moving as to all of his joints as it should, or something like that. And he goes to the doctor in his hometown in Pennsylvania. He gets surgery. He spends like the next month rehabbing. Gets back into the team, and Jimmy Johnson cuts him.
Oh, God.
But if you're Troy Aikman or Emmitt Smith or Michael Irvin,
You're watching it.
you see it happen. You go, man, that's cold.
But
It's
Yeah.
not happening to me.
Right.
But this kind of thing, it creeps in a little bit. And so, because you need a lot of players for a football team.
Right.
And not all of them are your best player.
Yeah, but it is that thing where it's instilling a little bit of paranoia.
Yeah, I can be next.
And maybe with a team this young, I mean, you're not like most people aren't in the NFL that long.
Yeah.
So you need them to give their entire life.
And he cut his wife.
Yes.
That's before he even got going.
Dude, and she ran a 4.40. Non-win aided.
Yeah.
She led the team in sacks.
Oh, this guy's talking about her in the locker room.
God.
So the Cowboys
She earned the name Johnson.
Oh, God.
in '91, the Cowboys had the second best record in the NFC conference. There's two conferences in the NFL, the AFC and the NFC. They got a week off for the first week of the playoffs with the second best record.
Bye.
The first round, and then the second round they beat their rival, the Philadelphia Eagles, arch rival, and then they beat their nemesis, the San Francisco 49ers.
Rivals, nemesis.
The 49ers are, because they play in different divisions in the NFC. The 49ers are the team to beat, Steve Young and Jerry Rice.
The whole gang.
But the Eagles, they play more because they're in the same division, so it's more of an intimate rivalry. But the 49ers are the team to beat. And so they beat the 49ers, and then the Super Bowl is 2 weeks away, and it's in Los Angeles.
What year?
This is 1991.
Wow. Oof.
1991, Los Angeles. They have 2 weeks until the Super Bowl. And they discovered when they get to L.A. that in their same hotel is a New York modeling agency who has brought a bunch of models in for a photo shoot.
Oh, no.
And they hold a team vote, and they decide that the wives aren't allowed to join the team for the first week.
Ooh, boy.
These poor models don't know what's hitting them.
Jesus. Yeah.
So
The guys are 25.
Yeah. 300 pounds.
The girls are 19.
Yeah. Had rice once.
Jerry.
This is what Nate Newton said. He said, "I was a terrible husband, the worst there ever was. I love my wife, but I didn't want to just be with her. She'd be lying if she told you I said it'd be any different. My wife knew who I was. Oh, she'd say, but you're going to try, maybe. This is who I am, and this is how I act." James Washington says, "What can I tell you? A lot of us were addicted to it. To what? To the pussy."
Huh.
Even the kicker, Lynn Elliott,
Even the kicker, Lynn.
6 foot, 180-pound rookie kicker, balding, not in great shape, wears glasses.
I mean, 6 foot, 180 pounds.
Yeah,
He's fine. He's a kid. He's in the NFL. He's in good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said, being a cowboy, the woman came easy. He said, if I had practiced kicking footballs as hard as I worked on chasing girls and drinking beers, I've had a 15-year career. He did not have a 15-year career.
Huh.
But I bet you he was the leading scorer on the team. The kicker's usually the leading scorer on the team.
Yes. While they were in L.A. at that time, Ron Harper, the NBA star, had a 29th birthday. And he had a whole party
Hey,
with
whole party. I love whole parties.
celebrity men and half-naked women. Kenny Gant says, "Man, I met a lot of people that one night. I met Magic Johnson. I met the chicks from Martin, and I danced with them. It was insane."
Chicks from Martin.
I left with a cough.
Yeah. I went home with Shanae. Top that.
So, I mean, you have to imagine, though, like, these guys...
Gotta say it.
If I had a beer in my mouth, I'd be spitting up. I got to give that one to you, John.
So as big as these guys are in the sporting world, they're 25 years old, and they get to L.A. and they see, like, Whoopi Goldberg, and they're like,
Yeah.
holy shit, that's Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
I'm going to fuck her.
Yeah.
Move over, Ted Danson.
Take off your blackface.
She's just
Put it, no, leave it on.
chief in Newports.
Oh, that's racist.
No, she does. That's
Oh, I thought you meant all black people.
no. Her thing is like she doesn't fly. And
Yeah.
and she says she's just in
Neither
the back
does
of a limo, just fucking smoking Newports the whole time because she doesn't fly.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just sounds like Whippy.
Even their head coach, Jimmy Johnson, got in on the act. Downtown Julie Brown. So Jimmy Johnson had this coif, this like...
Great hair.
Yeah, very good hair. He did.
and downtown Julie Brown was interviewing him, and she ran her hands through his hair. And she said, "What's the one rule of thumb you've given to the players?" And Jimmy Johnson yelled, "Don't kiss Julie Brown!" And then he kissed her.
Wow.
On the lips.
Oh boy.
Oh!
Now that's nice.
Yeah.
And she goes downtown like here.
Yeah, what's up with that?
What's up with that?
What's down with that?
He was also, I mean, an objectively handsome man.
Well, he's a southern gentleman looking kind of guy.
Yeah. But then they get that kind of profile too.
Yeah.
And you're going, here's this white-haired,
Silver fox.
yeah, he's kind of got the tan complexion and shit, probably.
Nice chin.
Yeah. It takes on
He assaulted her.
some
He
kind
assaulted
of
Julie Brown.
It takes on some kind of the gentleman's general kind of thing
Yes,
too.
he is commanding this
This
stable
fighting
of stallions.
force. Yeah.
So, despite all of this partying, like the Buffalo Bills actually made the news more because one of their players got into a fight with Magic Johnson's bodyguard after insulting Magic the whole night at a bar.
Good God.
Magic's fake, dude. They're called illusions.
Wait, was it actually?
That's it.
Magic. Nothing's magic, dude.
It's fake, dude. Slide a hand, bro. Are you related to Jimmy?
Was this about AIDS stuff?
I must have been.
In 91?
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean, why were they heckling him? At
It
a
might
bar?
have been right that time.
It was right around 91, 92 when that
I think it might have been 91, bro.
Magic shit was probably not out partying at that time.
Well, he was at a bar with a bodyguard,
Yeah.
big man who beat up one of these football players.
He beat up a football player?
That's a good bodyguard.
Dude, fucking, they should hire that guy to be a fucking home lineman.
So, despite all of this, the Cowboys, when it gets down to the night before, no one breaks curfew. No one brings any women home, and they go out in the Super Bowl, first Super Bowl of most of their lives, and they gave up the first touchdown, and then they proceed to just stomp all over the Buffalo Bills.
And this is what year?
91.
Drew Bledsoe was the quarterback?
No.
Do you know
Jim Kelly.
Do you know the time in 91?
What do you mean?
Do you like what month or whatever?
It
January.
would have been January, I suppose.
Oh, okay.
It's Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, it wasn't out yet.
What was it? Oh, yeah.
About Magic.
Oh, you know when it was? Yeah, exactly.
okay.
Because
It was November 91.
That's right.
Okay. Well,
Good call, John.
they were heckling him for some reason.
No, I looked it up because I wanted to know.
Hey, nice.
So
I love that.
Showbiz, baby.
Live fact checking here on the show.
So the offense, the Cowboys offense scores 38 points. The defense causes 9 turnovers
Fucking hell.
and scores 2 touchdowns from them. And they put up 52 points. I think it was like 52-17 or something. It's just an absolute thrashing. And this
The
is
defense had almost as many points as the other opposing team's offense.
And this is the 3rd Super Bowl loss in a row for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Because they were going against who first?
I don't remember.
They
who
would
played first.
go on to more Super Bowls and lose.
That's right.
And,
God bless them.
But the Dallas defense and largely the game will be remembered for the touchdown that it was not scored. And I want to tell you about a man named Leon Lett. He's a large man, 6'6", over 290 pounds.
Oh.
He was drafted in 91. He was a rookie that year. He would become a regular starter and arguably their best defensive player in the playoffs. But he won't be remembered for that. He will be remembered for this one magic moment where he picked up a fumble and he was on track to return it for the longest fumble return in Super Bowl history.
Fuck.
When this happened.
No screen.
I mean, video's not working, so
Dude.
just do this.
Fourth down to throw. Pressure sacked by Jeffco. And fumble. And Leon Lett picks it up to the 40. Take a look out. Here he goes. Here comes Leon. To the 20. Go to the 10. Oh, Leon Lett has it knocked out of his hand. It's a fumble. It's a fumble. He had it knocked out of his hand. He was hot dogging and held it out at the 2-yard line.
Oh God. So the other so Buffalo got it at the 2-yard line?
He knocked it out of his hand at the 2-yard line.
Fuck.
I think the ball goes out of bounds, and it's
Don't let that shit out.
Don't drop that shit.
and he would then get like threatening letters and
You don't
on
say.
On the 40-point blowout.
Yeah, people are bad. But despite all that, the Cowboys win their Super Bowl. Troy Aikman is named the MVP. He makes $50,000 by shouting, "I'm going to Disneyland." Which
Was
seems-
he? That,
Fuck.
Yeah.
Is that where that started?
No, it
No,
had
it
already
happened-
been happening.
Yeah,
but-
it happened a few years earlier, but I watched a thing about that actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not very.
Keep it to yourself.
It's not very interesting. If it was interesting, I'd share it.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, Jesse Jackson joins the team to celebrate in the locker room.
God,
this is
please disappear.
what Nate Newton said. Nate Newton said, he goes, "I was like, what the hell is Jesse doing here? What kind of affirmative action is he looking for in the Cowboys locker room? Why aren't you in the locker room with the Buffalo trying to soothe their ache?"
Oh God.
Wow. The Buffalo.
Oh, I said the Buffalo. I was with Buffalo. Yeah. But they had done it. This team had scaled the highest mountain that they had ever.
Oh, you saying they've been to the mountaintop?
They've been to the mountaintop. Yeah, very good job.
Kept hope alive and
Rainbow Coalition.
But mind you, so they win this Super Bowl, and they're already, like, before they won, they were already a hard partying team. And they left with the Super Bowl win, though. They would leave the troposphere, and they'd enter the stratosphere of partying.
uh-oh.
Are you the Stratus? Matt, how many spheres can they go?
I don't know. I think that's the peak.
How many spheres?
How many spheres can they go?
They started
higher.
They started appearing everywhere. TVs, magazines, supermarket openings. Jimmy Johnson wrote a book.
These thugs, they'll do whatever they want if you let them. Animals.
Cowboys.
Troy, Texas considered changing their name to Troy Aikman, Texas.
Oh, my dear God.
Yeah. And also, Troy Aikman formed a band with some teammates called Super, quote, Boys. And their first single...
No.
They do have a cool song.
You know the song?
No, I asked him earlier, is there a cool song?
Yeah.
I don't know this.
So this is their first single.
Super Boys.
It's called... So they did have a song
Does Charles Haley have something to say about that?
They had another song called Everybody Wants to Be a Cowboy, and like Ray Wiley Hubbard sings on it. But this is their first single.
Kid Rock sings on it.
This is their first single. It's called Oklahoma Nights, and it's sung by
In Dallas? What the fuck?
it's sung by the great crooner Troy Aikman.
Oh, yeah, he's good.
Driving down 66, this old pickup truck and me. In your memory, thinking about how two young kids became sweethearts till the end. When we were 10.
We were 10?
Oklahoma nights, your front porch and soft moonlight,
Yeah.
and an innocent love that wouldn't end.
Anyway, you get the gist of it.
Yeah.
It sucks. You got a lot of money, and a recording studio's not going to say no.
No, Troy Aikman?
Yeah, Troy Aikman.
Oklahoma Nights?
Yeah.
Come on. Single, baby.
It's a hot single.
Printing money.
Ah.
Aikman, break your heart. Oh, midnight. Shut up.
Yeah.
There's also a defensive...
Wasn't he also plowing all these models, too, with the rest of them?
Troy Aikman, no.
Oh.
Dude,
He was keeping it silent.
Yeah.
Or
What?
they were keeping it
He
silent.
had a silencer on it.
Yeah.
That's smart.
It's called a suppressor, John.
It's called a cock cage, Aaron.
It's got a key, whole thing. Safe.
Also, there's during the season, defensive back Kenny Gant introduced this celebration called the Shark Fin celebration.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, you act like you're a shark under the water. That's good.
My
Yeah.
head is like a shark's fin.
Yeah, it's the
yeah.
Shark Fin.
Cool job.
And after they won the Super Bowl, all of a sudden people were paying him tons of money to like do it at parties. Like
They can do it.
yeah.
But it's better when he
It's
does
better
it.
when he does it.
Hey, will you come do the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also then they used to have these charity basketball games, and suddenly they could charge like 10 times more for to be invited to do a charity basketball game. Mind you, at the charity basketball games, Michael Irvin had already punched the ref in the face in the previous season. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the great thing about these charity basketball games now
Rock and jock?
is that when they would show up in like some random town,
Yeah.
any hot woman
Yeah.
would show up and want to have sex with them.
Oh, God.
That is the great thing.
So they
about
had
it. You're right. That is the great thing.
they had groupies at their charity basketball game.
Yes, of course. Make a wish, baby.
And the thing about the chartered flight to the charity basketball game, it's not associated with the Cowboys.
No,
Jerry
no.
Jones is
doesn't-
paying for
It
it.
doesn't have to do anything. You don't have to go through the TSA.
These guys are free balling.
Dude,
Yeah.
private flights? Dude, fucking air Columbia.
Yeah. And it's like Nate Newton says in this quote. He said, it didn't matter if you were a dope dealer, Channel 5 TV reporter, a judge on the U.S. District Court. You weren't getting the women the Cowboys were.
This guy's hierarchy of celebrity.
I mean,
Hey, Channel 5.
or El Chapo, or even a Supreme Court justice.
You weren't getting the pussy.
Like, what was going on in that guy's town? Where, like,
Everyone knows that the judge. Here come the judge.
He rules.
He's gonna drop the hammer.
Order.
You might object.
But he's going to sustain.
Oh no.
The guy, Michael Irvin's handler, who would get his women from this guy.
What? Like he's in the zoo?
The name, I forget his, I think it's Anthony Montoya. He would say, the flights, that's when it really got crazy. To call those flights off the hook doesn't do anything justice.
Ooh.
I don't think there's a word for what went on. We filled those planes with more women than we did players, and they were willing to do anything.
Damn.
Anything? Absolutely anything.
God damn it.
This is from Perlman. He says, if you were hot, you might get to spend the night with a player. If you were sexy, you might end up in the hoopster's private airplane. If you were two lesbians looking to put on a show, you might be allowed to fly the jet.
Good God.
Yeah.
To fly the jet?
You never know.
That's not a good idea. Aaron.
I don't know, man.
Anything goes? Wow.
You're up in the air. What's the worst that could happen?
Forget it.
Planes basically fly themselves.
And I should add that around this, by this point,
They let lesbians fly planes back then.
it was a modern time. The chartered flights for the team itself had a deal with American Airlines that the representatives for the Cowboys would be, before the flight, would be given a binder of the hottest, singlest women.
Binders full of women?
And they would choose.
By the airline would say, here is our list of stewardesses.
Yeah. Who the Cowboys might want to fuck.
And a couple of guys.
Yeah, well, if they're lucky.
Couple.
I don't know.
Baker's dozen.
And
into that.
so, Jerry Jones was already, setting the tone with that sort of thing,
Oh, yeah. Like, let's get these guys knobs polished.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big time.
The knobs are going to polish themselves, except that maybe you, Haley, you could probably reach it. You're probably into that sort of thing, crazy shit. Fine, maniac. All right. That leads in sacks in more ways than one, you know what I mean?
Look at this shit flinging idiot.
He's good, though. He's good.
So that preseason, a couple of things happened. One of the Cowboys flipped over another teammate's Pathfinder just with his body.
Good idea.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. That Cowboy was Charles Haley.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Emmitt Smith and Jerry
He
Jones.
was probably working on it and got hard.
Well,
Yeah, he got his erection flipped it over like a car jack.
when he said my car needs a jack.
Yes. Matt wins the round. Very good, Matt. My car needs a jack. Got your jack right there.
Emmitt Smith and Jerry Jones couldn't come to an agreement on a new contract.
Uh-oh.
And so Emmitt held out, and he started going to college instead.
Oh, he went back.
He went back, yeah. It was a whole thing.
For his doctorate, quantum physics.
I had to come back from Einstein. And then the Cowboys lost the first two games of the 1993
Fucking
season. Is it 93 or 92?
92.
92, I'm guessing. If that we ended at 91.
Yeah, maybe they won the Super Bowl in 92. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, fuck it.
Spoiler alert.
It must have been 92. Anyway, they lost the first two games. Look, I wrote most of this down. They lost the first two games of that season, and then one of the Cowboys took his helmet off and threw it at Jerry Jones, and it just missed him. Instead, it went through a wall.
Through a wall?
That Cowboy was Charles Haley.
Jesus Christ. You almost hit Liz Taylor.
She wouldn't remember it she wouldn't notice if you did.
So not long after that, Jerry Jones and Emmitt Smith agreed on a deal. Then the Cowboys won their next 7 games. But Jimmy Johnson was still being a real hard ass to people, cutting people left and right still. Let's see. I already told you about that one guy. Well, he was just still being a dick.
Right.
And, you know,
Johnson.
the players, as they, you know, once they started winning, they were going, like, do we need this guy to be a dick to us anymore? Like,
like what? Oh, yeah, like it came out of nothing.
Yeah, let's change the formula.
Yeah. Wow, it ain't broke. Let's fix it.
Yeah.
Do we need this guy to be a dick anymore?
Yes, you
Yes.
do.
You're at
Because
the-
you're all dicks.
And you're at the strip club every night. Shut the fuck up.
But I mean, like Jimmy Johnson made so one of the guys was this guy named John Roper who fell asleep in a team meeting, and so Jimmy Johnson just cut him from the team. And one of the guys goes, "Well, Jimmy didn't know that guy had a new baby and it was keeping him up all night."
Yeah.
But he said if that was Emmitt Smith, he wouldn't cut him. But he wanted to make an example of this guy. Who just fell asleep in a team meeting because he had been up all night because he had a new kid.
Right. Yeah. Well,
From a stripper.
But so the Cowboys, you know, they won their 7 games. They were 7-1, and then Leon Lett did a thing again,
Leon, at it again.
and
What kind of thing?
it was Thanksgiving. It had snowed in Dallas. There was snow on the field. They were playing the Miami Dolphins,
Those guys.
and the Dolphins are lining up for a game-winning kick, and it was
The laces
blocked.
were out or in. The laces were in.
The kick was blocked, and the ball's just bouncing around the field. And so they had a word they would yell. They would yell Peter, which means don't touch the ball. And the coach at the time who was explaining it, he couldn't really explain what it. He was like, it seemed like it was a dirty word, but he was like, it's what we came up with, Peter. I don't know.
Okay, that's vague as fuck.
It's very vague.
What coach?
The special teams coach.
Oh,
Because the special, But anyway, so there's what Leon Lett did with his ball, floundering around in the snow.
Can't see a blessed thing. Oh God.
Here knocks the ball. No, it's not 92, it's 97. Jimmy Jones. Now someone touches the football here. Watch what happens. It's Leon Lett. No!
What'd he do?
So the ball's on the field. The Cowboys don't have to touch it at all.
Yeah.
It's just, and if they just leave it there,
And Leon wants it.
Leon says, "Oh, look at the football. I gotta grab it." And he slips on the snow, kicks the ball. Dolphins pick up the ball, kick the game-winning field goal. Leon Lett's at it again. 2 most famous plays of Leon Lett's career.
Does he get cut?
No.
he had a big dick.
It's the one time Jimmy Johnson said, it's okay.
Really?
Yeah. But also, he was one of their...
So you're saying
best
he let him get away with it?
Yeah. Anyway, they won their next 5 games. They finished the season 12-4. Troy Aikman signs a new contract, 8 years, $50 million, largest in NFL history at that point.
What about the recording contract?
This is the real meat.
Checks in the mail.
And so when he signs that contract, there's talks about, is this team that close? Because Emmitt Smith was like, hey, why didn't I get it?
My chopped liver?
Yeah.
I'm Emmitt fucking Smith.
But at the same time, Troy, that Christmas, people on the team are starting to say, like, Emmitt's kind of full of himself. That Christmas, Troy Aikman gave everybody a new set of golf clubs. Emmitt Smith put his biography in their locker.
Oh.
Well, he had done a Rolex before. Let's give him a fucking break.
Yeah. What did fucking Charles Haley do with the golf clubs? Eat them?
He wrapped him around his dick.
Yeah.
Turn the 9-iron into a fucking cock ring? Get out of here.
Yeah. He probably jizzed in all their fucking socks or something.
Yeah, at least with Emmitt's biography, he had 1,500 cum rags or something, pages.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big,
So-
thick book.
The season ends. They had, Aikman's the second best QB ranking. Michael Irvin, second receiving yards.
Who's number 1?
Jerry Rice. Emmitt Smith leads the league in rushing yards, named NFL MVP. The Cowboys, then they beat the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs. Then they trounced the 49ers. Aikman gets another concussion. He's his third of his career. He's laying on the field, and they say, where's the Super Bowl next year? And he says, Henrietta, Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
And Doesn't matter.
Oklahoma nights on the front porch.
The
You were
Cowboys.
10 and I was 20. What? Oh, weird.
It's like Game of Thrones.
But you were 12.
Even when you were 10, you were a 12.
I gotta hide you from Haley.
Comet. Let's get Nikes and take off from this bird. Let's get out of this 2-horse town.
Why does he got you dressed like some kind of Chinese?
So anyway, the Cowboys they're on their way to the Super Bowl again, and this time they would face the Buffalo Bills.
The best team in the NFL.
Yep. And the Super Bowl this year was going to be that year is in Georgia, indoors, artificial turf, and instead of a 2-week wait, it was 1 week. Troy Aikman spent the night of his concussion just babbling nonsense to his agent in a hospital room.
Oh, yeah. I'll get right on that.
Oh, good. Yes. You want me to order a pizza from the Yo-Yo Man? Good. Yes, Troy.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, you're coming up with a lot of good ideas.
You're speaking in hieroglyphics, Troy.
Yes. The Aikman needs to get back in the studio soon.
He's spitting hot fire. You know what the 5 fingers of death is, Troy? You're spitting game right now. Somebody drop a beat.
My Aikman breakman heart.
At halftime of the Super Bowl, the Cowboys are down 13-6. Troy Aikman is not doing well. But early in the second half, the Cowboys defense, they're lined up against the Bills, and they need to stop. And they noticed the Bills line up in this formation. So shotgun is when
Was it a Buffalo stance? Or?
It's two Buffalo girls go around the outside, but they go straight up the middle.
Well, it was a shotgun formation. And normally in the shotgun formation, Thurman Thomas, a great Buffalo Bills running back, he would stand, I believe it was to the right of their quarterback. Except this time he stood to the left of the quarterback. And the Cowboys defense had been had the TV on the night before, and they were watching an interview with the Bills head coach. And the Bills head coach was getting interviewed as his team practiced behind him in the background.
Oh, no.
With them doing the...
As his team was practicing in the background, the Cowboys were watching, and they said, "Oh, Thurman Thomas, he's on the left." And when he was on the left, he took a direct snap. So instead of the ball being snapped to the quarterback, it was snapped right to him. And he ran this play.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys said, "Oh, they're doing that thing we just saw on TV last night when the coach was getting interviewed."
God bless us.
So they have this huge stop. I think they might have caused a fumble. But anyway, they just absolutely stopped the Bills in their tracks.
Yeah. They made Thurman Thomas a paraplegic.
Who's out of a job.
And they score and they take the lead. And a lot of the Buffalo Bills players were saying, like, when we came into this game, we had lost 3 straight Super Bowls, and we were like, we're going to fuck this fucking place up. We're going to destroy these guys.
The quarterback's got a concussion, a hit record, but...
They're like, when that thing happened, all of those old fears came right back in, and we were done.
Wow.
It's all that old industrial psychology.
That's right.
We went back to our abandoned Buffalo factory.
Yeah, we just started shoveling coal into the boiler it was about times.
Yeah.
I'm back into our old patterns.
Right. So Thurman Thomas fumbled the ball, and Washington ran it back for a touchdown. And
You mean Dallas?
No.
A guy named Washington.
I forget what his first name is. He ran it back for a touchdown. The Cowboys take the lead and never give it up.
Damn.
Or they tie the game, and then they don't give it up from there. Because the Bills were like, even though the game was tied,
We're going to lose.
they knew. And so the Cowboys win their second Super Bowl in a row. And so
91-92.
I think it's 92, 93. 92,
93?
93.
Okay, yeah, that kind of makes. Fuck, I'm thinking about just like.
I think the Giants won in 91 then.
Yeah.
The New York Football Giants?
Yeah, I love you putting all the shade on the Giants. What did they win and why?
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
I really just didn't know. I just remember the Buffalo losing a lot.
Yeah.
So the Dallas wins their second Super Bowl in a row. And then Jerry Jones fires the coach.
What?
What happened?
Jerry Jones had felt that by this point that Jimmy Johnson was taking a little too much credit for the...
Oh, you mean the architect of the whole thing?
Yeah. The guy that
Yeah.
made it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, so like all of a sudden Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson were starting to say things like, well, I thought it'd be a good idea to sign that guy, instead of we thought it'd be a good idea to sign that guy.
Uh-huh.
And things had been brewing earlier because I think it was the 92 draft, maybe the 93 draft. Jerry Jones invited like a posse into the draft room, and Jimmy Johnson was like, what the hell's that posse doing here? So he invited a posse into the draft room, and all of a sudden there's 40 guys.
Cowboys and their posses.
Woo!
Regular fucking
What are
posse.
you doing here? I'm from Citibank.
Well, I'm from Bear Stearns, and I don't like the way you fellas do
like-
business up there in New York City.
I like the spurs on my boots. Stupid idiot.
You bundle of sticks.
It's March of 1994. After the Super Bowl from the 93 season, after they have won this Super Bowl, Jerry Jones is incredibly drunk at a party in Orlando for the NFL winter meetings.
Oh, God.
And
Disneyland.
he decides that after having this interaction with Jimmy Johnson while there, that he's going to sit down with some reporters.
Not a good idea.
Good.
And he says he spends an hour with them, and he says something. And this is they would later go back to him at 5 a.m. and say, "Hey, we have this on record. Can we run this?" And he said, "Yeah."
Oh, yeah. No, that's what I
I
said.
haven't slept.
Yeah.
And he says,
No, I haven't slept. Why?
"Let me ask you boys a question. Can you win a Super Bowl without a franchise quarterback? Yes. Can you win a Super Bowl without a franchise running back? Yes. Well, can you win a Super Bowl without a fucking great coach? Yeah, I guess." And then he told them he was going to hire his old friend Barry Switzer, who was a man that had actually, I believe, had coached him and Jimmy Johnson at one point in Arkansas.
So he's 100.
He's an old man. And so Jerry Jones, shortly after this, he calls Barry Switzer to offer them the best job in professional football.
Over a winning coach.
But here's a guy that Jerry Jones can get along with.
Yeah.
And Barry Switzer, he picks up the phone and
Doesn't know who it is.
he says, Jerry, do me a favor. Can you call back in a couple of hours? I just got home from the hospital. I'm still sort of groggy. They did one of those damn colonoscopies on me.
Oh, yeah.
And then he hangs up the phone. And then he calls back.
Found my guy.
And then he calls back 3 hours later and he says, I had one of those anal probes, but I'm a little more clear-headed now. Did you say you wanted me to coach the Cowboys?
Damn.
And he takes the assignment. And the next day, Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones announced that they had agreed to part ways. Barry Switzer was has one of the best winning percentages of college football coaches. And he ended his career there by getting the school put on probation for multiple scandals. Including... within a 2-month span in 1989, defensive back Jerry Parks shot and wounded a teammate. 3 players were charged with rape. Star quarterback Charlie Thompson was charged with selling cocaine. Switzer had alerted Thompson to the fact that he was under investigation, forcing the FBI to call off a larger probe.
I know how much he loves probes. Jesus.
And he was let go for not, quote, exercising supervisory control.
Uh-huh.
And he would now be in charge of the Dallas Cowboys.
Right. And they are good boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this time, the next Cowboys scandal would reach all the way to the White House.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
And is that where we're stopping?
That's where we're going to stop. This is part one.
All right, part one of the Cowboys. Folks, tune in next week for part two. Matt dropping far more salacious details.
All the way to the White House?
To the White House, where there was only it was just Bill Clinton. He
No
was
scandals.
Good guy.
Ken Starr's dead, which is good.
Maybe.
Yeah, Ken Starr.
Rest in piss, dude.
making a lot out of nothing. Ken Starr.
Well, also covering up all the rapes in Baylor when he was in charge of Baylor.
Baylor?
Baylor University had a whole
wow.
Not
tons
deceptive Baylor
Yeah.
from the Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Big piece of shit. Long may he,
Marinate.
yeah. Folks, join us again next time on Profiles in Eccentricity. I'm going to say I love you. My name is John Fahey.
I'm going to say I like you a lot. And my name is Aaron Pita.
Matt Purcell.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Good night.
Scarpins Avenue.